Hello, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us on here at RwandaTV News. These are the top stories tonight. President Paul Kagame and his Congolese counterpart, Felix Tshisekedi, have agreed to establish a common ground for resolving long-standing disputes between Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo. The Minister of Justice pointed out that the promotion of good governance entices countries to revamp their governance to suit the peace and security of human beings. The exact duration of land lease has been renewed and it is now 99 years, as it is written in the Prime Minister's order of 3rd July 2022. Glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. I'm Ethan Tashobe, watching RwandaTV News. The heads of state of Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo have agreed to establish a common ground for resolving long-standing disputes between the two countries. President Paul Kagame and his Congolese counterpart, Felix Tshisekedi, also agreed that a joint permanent commission of the two countries should meet next week, to further discuss the roadmap to de-escalate hostilities and address security issues in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. That includes addressing the issue of FDLR, while the issue of M23 to be dealt with domestically within the framework of the Nairobi process. The tripartite meeting held in Rwanda, Angola on Wednesday was chaired by the Angolan President João Lourenço, who is also the chair in office of the International Conference of the Great Lakes Region, ICGR. The forum, that we have that report courtesy of our news here in RwandaTV. Tripartite meeting of the two heads of state, which was chaired by the Angolan President João Lourenço on Wednesday, decided on a process of de-escalation of hostilities between DRC and Rwanda. According to the communique, restoring trust between the two countries will be achieved gradually through a so-called Rwanda roadmap on reviving the DRC-Rwanda Joint Commission, which had not met for several years. Part of the Commission's focus is on an in-depth examination of the conflict and the insecurities caused by armed groups operating in eastern DRC that include FDLR, which are now operating alongside Congolese forces FARDC to disrupt Rwanda's security, as well as in the fight against M23 rebel group. On the issue of the M23 war against the Congolese government, it has been decided that an investigation will be launched into the allegations raised by the Congolese government, and the rebel group will be dealt with in accordance with the framework of the Nairobi process. The first meeting of the Commission will be held on July 12th in Rwanda, Angola. Angola's President João Lourenço convened the tripartite meeting after being appointed by the African Union as a mediator between DRC and Rwanda. In his recent remarks, while appearing in an exclusive interview on RBA, President Paul Kagame said that the issue of war between M23 and the Congolese government should not be blamed on Rwanda, but that the Congolese government should play a key role in solving it locally. A month ago, the East African Community announced the deployment of the Regional Intervention Force in eastern DRC, but the government of DRC has demanded that the Rwandan army should not be part of the group. All right, now we have the news coming in. We have already the roadmap and the communique released from the meeting that happened earlier today in Rwanda, Angola. It actually details the objectives of the meeting, the activities, the deadline, responsible authorities, and observations. Those are the observations, of course, from the meeting that we had. And one of the recommendations in the roadmap include the normalizing the political and diplomatic relations between DRC and Rwanda, and establishing a climate of trust between the two states, and create an optimal condition for dialogue and political consultations to resolve the current security crisis in eastern DRC. Also, the roadmap has the second item is preventing violation of territorial integrity and ensuring compliance with the commitments made by SGR states in this regard. But also the third item was to verify the reciprocal accusations of DRC and Rwanda concerning the support of M23 and the collaboration with the FDLR respectively. Also revitalization of the framework agreement for the peace, security and cooperation in the DRC and in the region. And some of the activities that to be done increase ceasing hostilities and immediate withdrawal of M23 from occupied positions in accordance with the Nairobi final communique. The other one is to defeat FDLR and its splinter groups, CNLD, FNLD, Urunana, and the Abajarugamba FPPH, which are the origins of the tensions between Rwanda and DRC and play a major role in the insecurity of the DRC in order to ensure that the threats to security ceases completely. Now, the other activities to be worked on include creating the necessary condition for the return of refugees. Another one is to reactivate the joint intelligence team Rwanda-DRC to agree on the practical modalities of and the program for fighting FDLR in coordination with the presidency of the SGR and the Nairobi process. Another one is reconvening of the Joint Permanent Commission on July 12th, as earlier said, in Rwanda, Angola. Another one is to fight hate speech and offensive language in the region by all parties. But also, the third activity is to expand the mandate of the joint SGR mechanism by strengthening its role and making sure by mechanism and strengthening its role and means in action to enable it to carry out the prior monitoring, prevention, and record all actions likely to compromise the implementation of the commitments of the parties with regards to territorial integrity, security, stability of the state, of the regions, as well as mutual confidence between them. But also create an ad hoc verification mechanism led by an Officer General of the Republic of Angola. The other one is to establish a joint mechanism for regular consultations and harmonization between SGR and the East African community on the Nairobi process and the roaming of the armed groups in the region, accelerate the implementation of disarmament and demobilization of armed groups. Most of these resolutions are either long-term or short-term, depending on their agency. Now, in other stories, Forum for Women Parliamentarians for the International Organization of Francophonie awarded Profame Twese Hamwe an umbrella of civil society organization aimed at advancing the status of women for their role in promoting gender equality and women empowerment, and governmental organization that has been an outstanding contribution to the advancement of women and girls in the region and member states. Innocent Mugabo reports.
The award was presented by the French Interparliamentary Assembly at a meeting taking place in Rwanda. The executive director of Profams Twese Hamwe, Dr. Gahongayire Berata, says the award is due to their partnership with the government and other institutions that have brought gender equality to more families.
This
award we got is due to our government because it gave us a place to work from and the laws that govern us. You cannot achieve gender equality or human rights without all of this. We have a better country.
The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies of the Parliament of Rwanda, Honorable Mukabarisa Donatil, notes that such awards reflect Rwanda's pride in the international arena.
It is of great joy. It shows that the whole world is aware of what we're doing. So for us, it is Rwanda's great honor and pride, and the Rwandan women in general.
The award given to the Profams Twese Hamwe is worth 5,000 euros, equivalent to about Rwanda francs 5 million. From the moment Rwanda was announced to host the ongoing international conference of parliamentarians in the French-speaking countries, youth and women's forums started working on activities and projects to be presented to the General Assembly of the forum that fosters gender equality and human rights development. Innocent Mogabo, RTV News.
Now, in other stories, at a time when the country has set a target to perfect service provision nationwide by 2024, residents express their disdain for the long journeys they still have to make to access the services they are in need of. Rwanda's Space Agency is working on a satellite system to identify what areas are in urgent need of infrastructure. Precious Chirezi has more.
Residents of Nzeruka district say that getting access to the services they need requires taking a lengthy journey to obtain them, which would cease to be an issue if appropriate infrastructure for service provision was availed to them. The journey to the hospital from home is 2 hours. It will be great to have access to health facilities and vaccination centers near us. A research conducted by the National Statistics Institution found that lead time to health centers was approximately 95 minutes, which had reduced to 49 minutes in 2017 when this study was conducted. The Minister of Local Government says accessing infrastructure is essential, but service provision should be improved in order to avoid leaving customers unsatisfied.
Reducing the time spent traveling is necessary, but it also has to be worth it. I could travel 10 kilometers and get the service I came for, while someone else not seeking the service from afar waits for long periods of time. Service delivery has to be fast and effective.
The Chief Technology Officer at Rwanda Space Agency says the technology advancements in progress intend to fill the infrastructure gaps that hinder provision of a specific service.
You can use them for urban planning. And this is you are able to take the images and be able to detect automatically illegal settlements just by looking at the picture you've taken. And also you are able to map out the infrastructure of the country and be able to tell for a specific cell or sector, a citizen, how long does he have to travel to get to the nearest bus stop, to the nearest school, to the nearest hospital. All those things can be done just by using those satellite images.
33 services provided by local entities are availed through Irembo, and 54% of these local entities have digitized their operations. The Ministry of Local Government shows a 74.1% success rate in the service sector so far, and the goal remains 100% by 2024. Precious Chilezi, RTV News.
Well, thanks, Precious, for that report. Now, the exact duration of land lease has been renewed and it is now 99 years, as it is written in the Prime Minister's order of July 3rd, 2022. It was well received by the public and non-governmental organizations. Ghislaine Mugwaneza reports.
Currently in Rwanda, the exact duration of Infetutek lease is 99 years for the land as it is written in the Prime Minister's Order number 008/03 of 3rd July 2022 determining modalities for land allocation and acquisition, Infetutek lease, and state land concession and lease. The Director General and Chief Registrar of Land Titles at Rwanda Land Management and Use Authority, Esperance Mukamana, has said that no resident will ask for the renewal of Infetutek lease after those years.
ubundi muzi ko mbere imyaka y'ubukode bw'ubutaka yagendaga igenwa bitewe n'icyo ubutaka bwagenewe gukoreshwa.
You know that the years of land lease used to be offered basing on how it will be utilized. For example, land designated for residential use, it was 20 years, 30 years for commercial activities and industrial use. Land lease used to be offered basing on utilization, but currently those who own lands, it is 99 years, which is a lot of years, even though the owner would sometime die and their land could be given to their descendants. In this order, they're showing that the resident will not ask for a renewal exact duration. It will automatically change in the system that records all the information about the land, that is called Land Administration Information System, which automatically changes the duration for land lease when it expires, which is easy for a local resident. But for an international resident, they will have to request to evaluate if it is worthy, because we should protect our land and promote investment, but we should do that while protecting the country's land to be well used and given to those who are able to utilize it. The information was well received by the residents.
We
received it well and we are very happy indeed. 99 years are years that everyone is satisfied and happy for. Second thing, knowing that a resident will not have to make long journeys for land services, it is something we are happy for. And we thank President Paul Kagame because he thinks about us and cares for us. We're so grateful to him.
yumve ko tumushimiye kandi tubikuye ku mutima.
Not only residents that have appreciated the reforms to improve land services, but also non-government organizations.
Turanyuzwe icyambere twashima ko ubusanzwe ntabwo dukunze kubibona ku mategeko menshi.
Yes, we are satisfied. First of all, we are thankful. We don't usually see it in many laws, but the law regarding land has got a lot of history. When you see how history were published faster for laws to be used, it was so fast. It's a lot of history, but how these are being officially announced faster so that people will be able to operate in accordance with the law. We are thankful for that. Another thing is that all the ideas from the residents and the advocacy, we do our best on the research we conduct from the public, and they are really put into consideration. We are grateful for that, and we can see that there is a political will that prioritizes the residents. So it is really good to see the formation of laws are inspired by the residents' ideas.
The concession or lease of state land for strategic investment purpose period is 49 years that can only be extended not exceeding 99 years when approved by the minister in charge of land after considering the advices from the organ in charge of investment promotion. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Thank you, Ghislaine. Now, today, the two-day symposium conducted by the National Police on Peace, Security and Justice opened at the National Police College in Musanze under the theme Fostering Good Governance for the Peace and Security in Africa. The Minister of Justice pointed out that the promotion of good governance entices countries to revamp their governance to suit the peace and security of human beings. Precious Jersey with more.
Attending the symposium and panels are 34 senior police officers from different African countries, completing their year-long classes at the Musanze Academy. The first day of the symposium kicked off with panel discussions centered on the role good governance plays in maintaining peace and security in Africa, eloquently portrayed by governance experts from Rwanda and abroad. RGB CEO Usta Kaitesi shed light on the ways Rwanda found solutions internally to make it where it is today and emphasized on the fact that all Rwandans have equal rights and opportunities.
For sustainable development to happen, for sustainable peace to exist, for good governance to flourish, there are certain things that have to be done differently. Rwandans, based on their values, initiate homegrown solutions to deal with matters that concern them. Most of our homegrown solutions were employed to deliver on certain problems, but enforce our togetherness. When we go to do umuganda, we do not just do the cleaning of our environment. We get the opportunity to exercise social cohesion. We improve the lives of our neighbors, and we clear our environment. When we all went to Gachacha, we took responsibility of our past and owned the process of dealing with that past.
The attendees are from 8 different countries, which include Kenya, Malawi, Somalia, Namibia, Tanzania, South Sudan, and Rwanda. They consider these discussions important because they actualize the hypothetical studies out of the classroom.
We have learned a lot of theories in the class. We have also learned a lot of leadership concepts in the class. And we had also been practicing also leadership wherever we are coming from, because we are senior officers in different institutions that we are coming from. So what I'm expecting from this symposium is that we want to link the theories and the practice from the expert who had just come here to provide us with the subject matter.
The Minister of Justice and Attorney General maintained the view that good governance is fundamental to achieving universal peace and security.
Most recurrent conflicts in Africa, if not all, are associated with governance shortfalls characterized by failure to recognize and manage diversity, which leads to exclusion or marginalization of a section of the population, resulting into structural violence, insurgency, violent extremism, or terrorism. Undeniably, there is no magic wand that can be used to prevent or address all the above-mentioned shortfalls and the resulting disastrous consequences, other than promoting inclusive, patriotic, pro-citizen, accountable, transparent and human security-oriented governance.
The symposium is held annually and is concluded with a high-level leadership course facilitated by senior command police officers from the Rwandan Police Academy, and the current symposium is the 10th of its kind. Precious Chidezi, RTV News.
In other stories, dozens of government officials, civil society workers and individuals have completed a 6-month mediation course and have been trained in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court. The mediators are involved in litigation before the court when the defendants and the plaintiffs agree to reconcile before reaching a settlement. Now, some of the graduates say the training will benefit the work they already do. Chief Justice Dr. Naziryayo Foster praised the hard work being done by the mediators and said that the fact that their numbers are on the rise will produce an active resolving of disputes in line with their integrity. To date, about 400 people have been trained in mediation, of which 165 have been certified. Well, that's all we had for you tonight. Many thanks for your company tonight. On behalf of the entire news production team, we say thank you indeed. Until next time, I'm Ethan Tashavia. Bye for now.